Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about how to create something like this button that's basically there to create files in the front end. So we can check this out real quick. So pressing this button downloads the file pal.bin, but what's special about it is that this file doesn't exist on any server. It just is created dynamically by selecting some colors here and clicking download. We of course won't create all of this, not the colors or all that stuff, but we're gonna look at how to create files in the front end. So let's get started. I've got a little example file here, and we're just gonna start with the good old HTML. I did a few typos here and there. I'm gonna fix that up real quick. Body. So now let's get started. One thing we'll need, because we're handling scripts, of course, because we're creating files, is a script tag. Makes sense so far. So now, how do we actually store file data inside of a variable? That's a question you might want to ask. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a blob. And a blob is basically a file that lives in source code. So var blob equals new blob. So this can contain any type of data, just like a file can. Like I can have bin files, I can have files without an extension, all that good stuff. For now, we're just gonna say data. So this is a variable we'll define shortly. And this is gonna be our type. So type is text plain, because we just want to create a TXT file, not a binary file, because binary files are a bit more complicated, because you first need to convert all your strings or whatever you want to put in there into binary, or you put your numbers into binary and turn those into strings, and yeah, it gets a bit more complicated when you handle binary data. But this should work. If you want to, you can even create something like a binary / octet stream, which would be a binary file. But for now, this should be plenty. So now let's first of all create a bit of data. So let's say, what text can we put there? Hello world. This was created dynamically. Exclamation mark. So what we are going to need now is that we can actually use our blob to get an URL, because we need to get this file somehow, and we'll exit it over URL. This URL will only exist as long as the script tag is active. That's also really important. So if the website closes, then the tag is gone and we can't download anything. So keep that in mind. But for now, we can say blob dot create object URL. I did something wrong, I think. Yes, I did. It's not blob, it's URL. Don't be confused if I look to the side. I've got some little handy example there, because as you can see, I already coded all of that. But keeping all of this in my mind is a bit complicated. So now if we just do a little console.log of our URL, we should get some really long URL that starts with blob : So I'll just start a live server here. That's a little neat VS Code extension. These colored parentheses are the same. Also an extension. I will make a video about that at some point as well, probably. Who knows? But for now, let's just go server 5500 and go into blob. Right. So now we can look here. Console. Failed to construct blob. The provided value cannot be converted to a sequence. Oh yeah. I did a little mistake. I think it needs to be an array. Yeah. So you can't just put a string in here, you actually need to put an array of one string in there because you can only convert arrays into blobs, not any data type. Well, you can convert any data type, but it needs to be inside of an array. So now this URL would be able to download as our blob. I don't think putting it in here, it actually does kind of work. Like you see, this is our blob. Hello world, this was created dynamically. So we could now go here and say, okay, we can just copy Google and print, but yeah, we can't download it for now. So what do we do to download it? First of all, we'll take the easy route, which is having a script, an A tag, because as you know, A tags can open links, and this A tag will for now just be empty. And it will have a download attribute and a target blank so that it opens in another tab. Because as I said, if we take this and leave the server, so if we just go to Google, for example, load this again, then this file is gone, never to be seen again. But now it's still gone because we've got a new URL. So we can't put a static URL in there. So how do we do this? Quite simple actually. We'll give this A tag an ID so that we can access it in our code. We'll just call it download for now. And we're going to say document that get element by ID download, and we'll set its href value equal to our URL. Now we can save this, and our A tag needs content, of course, otherwise this won't work. Makes sense. So download. Let's click it, and you see here's our text file. Hello world, this was created dynamically. Now there's one more thing that we should do. I'll just need to check how to do this really quick because I always forget that. Right. We can actually set a value of download. So here, download equals, and now we'll just say it and call it text.txt. I think that's how it worked. Right, so now we always download the file text.txt instead of this garbled mess of characters, because who wants to download a garbled mess of characters, you know? I don't. So, now we can make this a bit fancier, because just clicking this is a bit ugly and you might want to execute some code before you click it. So we can even add a little button right here. Just call it download as well. And give it an on-click event. And we'll just execute the function foo, which we'll create now. So foo, oh, we can even pass something into foo. Let's say, oh, not like this, test. So foo takes some text, function foo takes some text. So this basically just makes it more dynamic. Like that. And now data equals an array that just consists of our text. The rest stays the same for now. So now there's only data if we actually click the button. So if we press this, then our text file, interestingly, consists of our whole source code and some other stuff, I think. Yeah, upgrade your browser is not supported, blah, blah, blah. But if we first do this and then this, then we get test, which is what we want. But we can make this even fancier, because who wants to press two buttons, right? So now we can actually go ahead and say style equals visibility hidden. Of course, don't put a typo in there. I did put a typo here. Visibility hidden. Ah, two equal signs. That's bad. So now that thing is hidden. You could, of course, also change its width and all that good stuff. For now, I'll just remove this part. And now it doesn't have any width because there's no content in there. Right, so now what we'll do is we're gonna do this. So basically just get the A tag again and execute the click function on it, which basically simulates clicking on it. So you can probably already guess what will happen. By clicking this button now, we're gonna download the file immediately because it simulates that we also pressed on the A tag. So now this says test. So yeah, you could obviously do a lot more stuff like adding an input field here and all of that, but I'll leave that to you because you now know how to create files in your front end. You could also change this to something like text HTML if you wanted to make a downloadable HTML file or whatever. But considering that you clicked on this video, you probably already have an idea of what you want to do. So I hope I could help you. If I did, leave a like. If you have any questions, leave a comment, and I'd also appreciate if you subscribed. So have a good day.